Yo, hello everyone. It's been a long time. It's been very, very long. And with this retagging event, gives me the perfect opportunity to finally make the Corsair Awakening PvP guide. This guide is not gonna be your basic guide that is gonna work for everyone. It's not gonna be the guide that every player can actually do. It's my personal playstyle. I'm about to share it with you. If you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't. It's basically for people those who really wanted this. I'll just put it out there and share you my playstyle and how I take my time PvPing with Corsair Awakening. I'm first gonna go through every skill in main and Awakening of what is useful, and then we're gonna go into the combos and into some gameplay with it as well. So first of all, you have your basic attack, it doesn't matter, Sea Prowler. It's your R&B, also not utilized very much. Storming Gale, you can max it, but I don't want to max it. It gives an AP buff in pre-awakening, but we're gonna use Pirate's Life for me, which is F in Awakening, which gives 20 AP buff as well. That's gonna be your main buff up anyways, and it's a super armor. It's way better than just on an unprotected skill, so that is just an optional skill. You don't have to level it. It's not necessary. Same thing for the Tidal Slash. I just have it leveled because, well, I have the skill points for it. You don't really need it, but in pre-awakening it has a frontal guard. It's pretty nice to have, so I just have it. Whirlpool, you want to lock it. This skill is gonna screw you up because in your awakening you have Sea Mist, which is also forward F, and if you have the pre-awakening locked, it will always use the awakening one. The awakening one has super armor on it, and if you have a core, it also will have a stun. So it is way better than having this skill unlocked. It is really useless, it's really not that great, so I prefer locking it. If somebody else likes to use it, go ahead, up to you, but that's not my playstyle. Storm Surge, this skill is really nice to rotate a super armor. It has a very nice super armor, and on top of that, if you hit a target, it has minus DP. Will you use it often? No, because it's close range. We're gonna go only close range when we have the opportunity, but most of the times people can burst through you pretty quickly, so you're not gonna be sitting in your enemy's face unless you have the DP required to do so. So it is a nice skill to have. It is definitely not needed, so if you don't have the skill points for it, you do not prioritize this. You prioritize first all the skills in Awakening, everything has to be maxed, and the core, and then it's gonna be main skills. So you don't need this. We can technically leave it all the way out, like all the way. It doesn't matter. I have it up because, well, I have the skill points for it. In the description down below later on, you'll find the skill build for 1650 skill points, and one, well, that you're gonna see with 2250, which even I don't have yet. Ocean Melancholy. Sorry, my English is not the best. It's back F. It has a forward guard. It's one of your main back away. This is your bail skill. You look at the target, you press back F, and you have a frontal guard while you're moving away. It's really nice skill. I have it maxed because of the damage, because sometimes you can just finish off a guy with like 5% health and just get away. It is really nice to have. I recommend maxing this one out. Wave Pouch, it's not really useful. You don't have to level it. I have it leveled for some stupid reasons, but believe me, you don't need this. So again, this is not something you're gonna use at all in Awakening. This is just an extra. Crashing Wave, I honestly would recommend you locking this. Simply because this skill is gonna screw you over many times, so this one has to be locked. Same as Storming Gale, if you don't utilize this, you can lock this. It is really not that great, and I mean, if you don't have it locked, it will do an animation. I have it unlocked because sometimes when I'm in pre-awakening that I give myself the 16 AP buff, even though it's totally useless, but it's still nice to have. So I have it unlocked. I use it rarely, but you don't have to have it. So Crashing Wave, lock. Wave Lash. This skill really, it is really not useful. In Succession, it is really useful because it's one of your main skills. It has insane good scaling and insane good damage, but in Awakening, it's just an extra. I don't have it locked because occasionally if I am too long in close combat and I need to an extend or a CC, this kind of offers me it, but it's unprotected, so it's really risky to use, and we're not even gonna go through that skill because it's really situational. You will maybe use that out of 100 fights, maybe you'll use it once, so it's not really important, nothing that you need to worry about. Ocean's Pearl, it's a really nice skill, I'm gonna say that much. It's a really nice skill because you have a frontal guard while casting it. Is it used a lot? No. Again, in Succession I would use this tons because it's really nice, but in Awakening it's really not that great. Overflow, we're gonna lock this because we don't need this. It's gonna screw you up. It's unprotected. I mean, it does minus DP and all that stuff, but it's really useless. In my opinion, if you want to use it, go ahead, but I don't recommend using unprotected skills because they're gonna screw you over. Wipeout, I have it maxed. You don't need it maxed. It's a really nice skill. It has a super armor while you do this long animation, and you can chain it together with Storm Surge. And what I mean with that, you can just do this and chain it. As you can see, it's all super armored and it lingers a tiny bit. So it's a really nice mobility that is protected in pre-awakening. So I have those two skills. They're really nice to use, and they give you the protection of being in super armor. Now the four mermaid skills that you definitely need to max out. These are all mandatory to max out for PvP. The first one is an iframe. First it goes from super armor into iframe. Once you get underwater, you're in iframe. Once you get back above the water, it's going to be super armor again. This is one of your skills that you're going to utilize a lot in sticky situations when you're in the blob or like between a lot of enemies. If you have the DP to survive it a tiny bit, it's going to help you. And you can chain an iframe afterwards. You can chain your skedaddle immediately and get like a prolonged type of iframe. Look, iframe, and I do skedaddle on top, and I have a pretty long iframe. It's a really useful skill. I love it. All the mermaid skills are amazing. In Awakening, you're going to be utilizing them a lot. Shift E does a lot of damage, and it's really good in close combat. So Corsair Awakening is not only about ranged combat. It's what many people forget. We have so much burst in close range as well, which we want to utilize, and sometimes it's really good. This skill in particular is amazing because you will also recover HP per hit. So if you jump into quite a few people, you're going to be able to recover HP. You're going to be able to trade, and you can chain mermaid skills one after another, which makes it kind of easy to utilize them. Your forward E is a nice, amazing, ultimate mobility super armor skill, and when you use the skill, you also get grapple resistance and all evasion rate. If you're an evasion player, which is kind of recommended for Corsair, but you don't really have to. I'm a full DR player and I'm playing Corsair pretty fine. With evasion, I probably would have survived a bit more, but then I would deal less damage because Begs gives me accuracy. The skill is amazing. It's really amazing. It saves my life so many times. You can chain this together with Sea Mist. You can chain it together with your back F, which is called Ocean's Melancholy. So it's really amazing. The amount of skills that flow into each other and you can chain in on Corsair Awakening or Succession is amazing. So, and then the last one, which is your back E, again, you get into a super armor, into an iframe, into a super armor, and it does a lot of damage. It's a really good trade skill as well, so you want these maxed. Now your secondary skills, evasion, obviously you're gonna have it. The swing, you want to have this. You want to max smooth sailing. This is basically your movement skills. You want to max them. As for Squall, you don't need the skill. This is optional, and the amount of times that you're going to use it is irrelevant to level this. Riding Waves needs to be maxed together with Skedaddle. Skedaddle is one of your main iframes. You need this. This is something you're going to watch every time it comes off cooldown. You can do some crazy stuff. Then the next thing is going to be Wavebreaker. This one, you don't need this. I'll just be honest with you. You don't need this. Wavebreaker, you don't need. Whirling Slash is pretty nice because it's a super armor and pre-awakening if you do AD RMB. So if you don't want it, you don't need it. You're gonna barely use it, but it's a nice chain of super armor. But at the end, you're unprotected. So it's again very situational, but you don't need this. And as for the passives, you max all your passives as well, just for the extra HP, extra AP and evasion rate, unyielding might for extra special attack damage if you're level 62, and with that being said, that's pretty much it for the pre-awakening. Now in awakening, you want to get everything. I'm just gonna say it straight out, max everything in here. And we're gonna go over the 2 buffs that you have first. Family's Honor, it's a quick slot skill. It gives you AP, attack speed, and crit hit rate. And if you stand in your mist is sea mist and your close quarter charge. You can leave a mist area. So if you press it, you leave a misty area behind. You can also see it by the buffs you get. Inside the mist area, you can get also HP recovery, 100 HP per every second. So basically, quick slot, make sure you put that on a quick slot. And then your second buff is Labao on deck. So this is basically a mini PA, which never works, FYI. I'm just gonna put it out there. What I would do is, I would not utilize this most of the times. I mean, I would utilize it most of the times, but the game doesn't allow me to utilize it because you die faster than the ability is getting casted. The way you cast it, you quick slot it, you cast it, and you summon Labao. He will, when you get on critical health, so something around like 25%, 20% health, he's gonna cast a PA on you. Most of the times you're gonna die before you get the PA. You're gonna get the cooldown of your self PA, but you're not gonna get the PA actually, so that's kind of sad, but it is what it is. Heartcatcher Petrarca, I have it locked. I use it only through a quick slot, because I don't want to screw up sometimes, because if you cast it, you're unprotected. Let me show you. So if you cast it, you're unprotected, and you have to wait until you actually catch the target to get the super armor. I don't like the skill, I don't like its unprotectedness. Do I utilize it? If a Zerker is gonna fucking start healing right in front of my face, or somebody is doing some stupid stuff right in front of my face, I will utilize it. But out of 99% of the battles, there is rarely a chance where you can realistically use it, so it's not that great. Wavebreaker is a really nice skill. If you dash to the with your smooth sailing, you can utilize Wavebreaker. You can also utilize it after just with a ADRMB. You can use it after shift ADRMB. Like, there's many uses of it. So, and if it's off cooldown, it has a stiffness. It's a pretty nice skill, and especially if you do shift S into RMB, it's really nice. Like, you cover a lot of ground. You cover a lot of ground, you get a little bit away from the target, and you have a chance to stiff him. So it's a really nice ability to use. It's unprotected though, so use it at your own cost. I only use it to cover up some ground, to move away from my target, or sometimes maybe to land a random stiffness, you see, if I really am willing to take the risk for it. Pirate's Life for me, this is your self buff. You want to cast it most of the times. You want to keep maintaining your 20 AP buff all the time. When you use it, you have super armor and you get all AP plus. What you can do is you can cast it, you can dash, you can do your smooth sailing into your skedaddle and use it again. So like, looks like this. C-swap and do it again. You can rotate basically around Pirate's Life for me most of the time. It's really nice that it has a super armor, because you can rotate it and you can keep moving around and utilize it between skills. It flows really nicely, and it gives you the super armor. That's all I need, to be honest. The super armor is amazing. I'll take it any day. Close quarters suppress. This is your close range skill that does a good amount of damage, but it doesn't have any protection. It has a core to make it protected, but it's not really worth taking, in my opinion. So the skill itself, I use it as a rare finisher. If I'm really in front of my target and I don't have any other ability to use, I can use suppress to finish off my target if he's on low health. I wouldn't use it most of the other times in any other way, so it's just some extra damage that you can rain down on the target. Sea Mist is your mobility, super armor mobility, and that is where I do have my core on, because that gives a stun on a target. It's a really nice outplay skill. You go onto a target and you can immediately CC him afterwards after the stun. So definitely recommend you taking the Sea Mist core together with maxing the skill. You can do a lot of things with the skill. It's really amazing. It has super armor. I mean, what else do you need? Shift E, your charge. This is a debuff in PvE. You can use it in PvP. I'm gonna be honest, I use this way too often in PvP, and am I happy about it? No, but I really love this skill. It's quick, and I usually cast it and I immediately skedaddle. Like, this is what I mean. I use it and I immediately skedaddle. It's personal playstyle. I know that a lot of people don't use it in that way. I just like it, so I use it. Spare no quarters your forward R&B. It has a forward guard and it's really nice. It can be chained after Sun Shielder as well, so it's really nice because if you use your Sun Shielder, you can immediately chain it. If you don't do the chain, you have like a weird animation where you jump in the air and jump on your target, but I don't like it, so... But it's really amazing. Also, with that skill in mind, you can jump off cliffs without having the falling down animation, so it's really, 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 really nice. Crow's Mark, your gun abilities. Basically, you shoot a beam, you shoot a harpoon to be more precise out of your gun, and it does a lot of damage, and it has a flow. This flow is not only after this skill. This flow, Ocean's Allure, can be used after every range skill, even including your basic R&B. If you click space, it immediately follows up after that. Sun Shielder is your Shift Q, fully super armored. You can use it by pressing Shift Q, or you can jump in the air and then press Q. Both has same effects, but Shift Q is a bit more protected in my opinion, because if you jump in the air, you only get the super armor effect after you press Q. So in my opinion, not really worth it. Just press Shift Q. Earthrender Petrarca. This skill is not only a flow after this skill. This can be used after Shift right mouse click. It can be used after Shift F. It can be used after Shift LMB. So this is basically a skill that you can use in between skills by just left mouse clicking, and you shoot an extra beam. It does a lot of damage. This is one of your most damaging skills, so keep in mind it's unprotected, but it does a lot of damage. Also is going to be utilized in your main combo. Shift F, one of your biggest boom boom damages. Also debuffs the accuracy on the target, has frontal guard, and there's an explosion afterwards. You want to make sure that the explosion lands on the target. Like, you first see the anchor coming down, and then there's like a small explosion. That explosion does a lot of damage, so please try to always land it. In most of the skills, by the way, you can also cancel them out. So if you get a target that's running towards you and you're scared of being grabbed, you can Shift F and you can always jump out of it. So you don't do the second hit. You can even do it in a way that you can immediately cancel it, so you don't have the downtime of waiting for the first initial landing, so you can just immediately cancel. So Skedaddle can basically cancel most of the skills away. Also, another thing with Shift F that is really nice to take a note of: if you cast it, you can move with your smooth sailing and then cast it. Like, I moved and then I casted it. So I pre-casted, I pressed Shift F, I pressed Shift AD, you move with smooth sailing a tiny bit, and then it casts it off. So, yeah, that's about it for the Shift F. Your Shift R&B is one of your main CCs, main forward guard trading abilities, also one of the main rooftop playstyle skills that you land out, because you always will do Shift R&B into LMB. It does a lot of damage, and it doesn't have like elevational thing where it doesn't land. Crow's Mark will always be just frontal. It doesn't land below you or above you, but Shift R&B and Earthrender always lands up and down wherever you aim. So that's really nice. High Spirits is your self-crit buff. I don't use it much for anything else. If it's off cooldown, you can use it on the target to finish a target off. Same as Close Quarter, same as Suppress. But in my opinion, I wouldn't use this skill in most other occasions. I just pre-buff before going in, so I always cast this, and I cast F to get my buffs. I get my 20 AP and critical hit rate plus 24%, and that is the only use for it in my opinion. Light 'em Up is a quick slot. This is a stiff. It's a really nice stiff. Use it, you can immediately dash out and go away. You can use it, you can press forward F and do a super armor. You can immediately engage on someone, so like you can cast this and immediately go into your target. There's many ways to use this. It's a really fun skill to play around. You just need to get used to it, how to use it correctly, because if you just use it and somebody engages on you and you didn't do anything protected immediately afterwards, you're gonna be CC'd. So these are your own risk, but also it's really nice because all of your summons are gonna attack the place that you send it to, all your minions are gonna attack towards that direction. So if you're doing some rooftop gameplay or long range gameplay, what you can do is use that. Also, if you use light them up and then dash to a target's position, your summons are gonna move with you. If you're fast enough, your summons are gonna start shooting at the location that you end. To be more precise, it looks like this. And my summon spawned here because I was here as well at the end of the animation. So that's how it works. Lava on deck we already talked about, and no mercy scallywags. This is basically the explanation skill of what your scallywags, what your others are doing, how much damage and stuff. You can see the damage scalings here, and you can see what everything of their debuffs slash buffs or what they do in every stage. I used only the Acton Captain's Bomb that removes the accuracy and evasion on a target. There's a hand cannon that adds 1 attack more on your scallywags, but I don't like that. And then there's the Cannoneer duo where he can stun the target randomly. So like if you press Shift F, the cannon dude that spawns with you, this guy, he can stun the target. The thing is, I don't really like that. You can use it on a rooftop gameplay and stuff like that. I just don't like that. It's just way too random. It's a good CC setup, but not my favorite. As for the core, again, Sea Mist, that's all we need. And that's about it for Awakening. Now let's go into the combos. So let's go over the base movement. First, the mobility. So you want to use your smooth sailing for mobility most of the time. You can chain that into your Sea Mist and then go back into smooth sailing. You can smooth sail and then do your Pirate's Life for me. Wait a little bit on that super armor to extend it so that you keep moving around in super armors, so that you're always moving safely without having a chance of being CC'd. So that's basically for the movement. You can also use Sea Mist for the movement, or you can keep it for outplaying a target. That is totally up to you. And apart from that, the combos. Now, for the combos, I don't really have a bread and butter combo where it's always the same. You're just always doing the same. I don't have that. But what I do have is my burst. Burst is pretty much always the same. Like if you get a CC stiffed, you use your Shift RMB into LMB into Shift LMB, and after that you can do your Shift F. You can do Shift RMB into LMB into Shift F. So there's a lot of different opportunities. But regardless, I try to catch or stiff a target with Sea Mist. If I stiff the target with Sea Mist, that's when I would unleash my Wind Piercer, and from Wind Piercer Earthrender, then either Shift F or Shift LMB. How it looks like this. Go through your target, you do this, boink, and an immediate Shift F. So it's really nice. It's a good damage output. But what else you can do is you can dash through the target and do 2 down smashes instead. So you dash through him, and you do Shift LMB at the end instead of Shift F. And then you can Shift F after Shift LMB. Now, there is no real combo in my opinion. In my opinion, you're gonna use always what's available to you. Let's say if 2 of the skills are on cooldown, you're gonna use something else. So that's the thing. But I always try to maintain the same kind of playstyle. I play always around my Sea Mist. So if I land my Sea Mist, I can do the usual combo. I can follow up with my Shift Q with my Sun Shielder into immediately Spare No Quarter. And from time to time, after Spare No Quarter, I try to get behind my target, do charge, and immediately skedaddle away. So there's a lot of these things. Now, it's really hard to put it into words. I can write like 10 combos down, but again, in the end, you just rotate your skills and you look at the situation. Is the target standing up? Maybe you shouldn't do a super armor in his face, because if it's a grab class, it can grab you and stuff like that. You have to keep a note of all of that. If you can play him away with that, like turning around and moving around him so that he will have a harder time to grab you, you can do that. I do that often, so in the end, it's all comes down to those kind of small things.
time.